team. Another episode, Journey this week with Michael and Ryan. And last week we didn't have an episode, Ryan.
We didn't.
No, it's our first one.
First missed episode.
Incepting this beautiful podcast. Just life, you know? That's it.
That's it. That is merely the
There's
answer.
only so many hours in a day, and there's only so much energy that can be put towards things, and life's big. And so, yeah, so we do apologise for not having one last week. However, just life.
As is life.
But here we are, back in the saddle.
It's an interesting one because literally I was going through it. It's like there's nothing booked. There's not a weekend that something's not booked in until November the 14th.
Yeah.
So that's months and months and months away.
Yeah.
Just because life is big, you know, growing a business is big, getting out there to all the expos that we're going to do, the different events that we're doing, and collaborating with other people, the weekends we have booked in with our partners. It's like life is big, you know, and we run it by our calendar because we merely have to, right?
Yeah. And so, you know, this is just a great lesson for, you know, everybody that listens as well, is, you know, like the consistency can be there, and it's not getting dogmatic about things. You know, like we had no capacity to record one and edit one last week, and that's okay. You know, but here we are, back into it. You don't let it falter. You know, don't have that block of chocolate and think, fuck it, I'm going to go all the way down and all the things. But
totally. And I think it's given us an opportunity to actually integrate the experience we had the weekend prior.
So 2 weeks ago.
2 weekends ago. And that is going into a 2-day immersion with Atlas, who we've spoken about before, who we shared about the experience that we were going to on a previous podcast. And it was just going to one of his open world theatre immersions and just learning more tools to deconstruct the patterns that we have and to allow ourselves to play into what's true and real, and sort of break down some of the constructs we have in our minds and our bodies, and to just really be present in a moment.
Yeah. And what was really cool was we took our partners along as well.
Yeah, it was dope.
And so that was a really awesome way to really break down just everything that was coming along within that concept of that weekend as well. And there was 5 of us there, and just very potent, like just potent medicine, really potent medicine. What do you reckon some of the takeaways for you that are still starting to land?
Probably the biggest one is Atlas said something that was profound, and it's something that I already knew, but for him to like say it, he's like, oh, you're a thinker. And so it's like breaking down that construct of being a thinker, and like noticing when I'm showing up as a thinker, and noticing when I'm just actually present in the moment, you know, not playing things out in my head before they even come about, or being in situations where I'm like using that ability to be a thinker, because it's, you know, it's an asset, but at the same time it can still pull away from authenticity in the moment.
And the mind will limit what could be possible. For sure,
because you're not truly there with the person. You're already creating the scene before it actually plays out.
Yeah, so true. One of the hardest bits I found, and what really, not hardest, challenging, or things that came to light, was we went through a task about what our power moves were. You know, what's your power move? And, you know, we've got lots of tricks. You know, we can master tricks. And we sat down in pairs and really had to drop into what our power move was. And for my partner, who I was working with there, her power move was love. And it's like, how do you know, you couldn't say what it was, and you take turns at dropping into what you feel like your power move was, and she just started moving into the aliveness and creating the scene, and I picked it straight away. And then when it came to my turn, I just found it really difficult, and I had sat there and realized that I've got lots of tricks. You know, I've got lots of things I'm good at, and I've curated, and I can have happen. But in the actual essence of what was my actual power move into the world for when I'm wanting to, you know, connect, or wanting to set the stage or the scene or something like that. And I was just sitting there and I realized like, oh yeah, I've got lots of tricks, but what I failed to really have acquired or created or understand yet is what is my power move out into the world. And then I started to pull that apart a little bit, and it was actually like, I find it difficult to feel. I find it difficult to understand what's emotionally going on within me, and be able to, you know, curate what that is and what is that essence of that and put it out. And so that was a really nice, challenging light bulb aha moment for me as well. And just learning to love more, and learning to like keep my heart open more, learning to, you know, just stand in my own isness without any of the things that I'm good at.
Yeah, for sure. Without any of the tricks or the armors or the patterns or the abilities that it's easy to drop into. And like that really was for me, it took a little bit of time to really figure out what that power move was as well. But when I landed in it, it was actually to lead from my heart. And it's something that we've spoken about before. I was like, that is my power move, is to lead from my heart. Because when I lead from my heart, I actually meet and match people where they're at. I pull myself out of the thinker and just be in the present moment with like the energy that I'm creating, the other person's creating, and where we match that. And for me, the beauty of that is like when I'm coming from that place, I feel in flow. I feel like there's no push or try, everything just is. And it's like that's where I work from when I'm working with clients. It's like, okay, cool. For me, it's like how can I meet this person where they're at and support them to get them to where they want to be? Or how can I find a way within myself to make them feel comfortable to drop into themselves?
Yeah, similar aspect that I picked up as a theme of myself over the weekend as well was there were many times where, you know, people were going into scenes or going into different practices, and like my mind was like, oh, you could share how they could do this and do this or do this better. It's like a coaching hat, because like that's a big part of our life is like coaching people and you know, sitting with breath work and helping them move their things. And where Atlas was really, really good and powerful, what I took a lot away was his ability to just drop in and just be and allow an actual soundboard to just kind of levitate through from whoever you're working with or whatever interaction you're with someone. So again, just listen more is more what I'm taking away from that as a theme as well.
Yeah, for sure. How do you think for yourself that is going to be integrated more into your life and into yourself?
I think it's just let the person reveal themselves. And that's a big thing that's coming up with me at the moment. Yeah. It's just like people will always reveal themselves. Always. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. Just watch. Just listen. And then the actions of their being will then tell you everything about them.
Yeah, for sure. And it's easy with the work that we've done and the knowledge we've acquired through breath work, through other somatic practices, through understanding psychology, people, interactions. It's easy to move into constantly analyzing seeing and knowing or feeling what might be best for the person, or even knowing and understanding the things that they're struggling with before they've even landed on it. You know, and then I guess the art is to, even though you know that, to just be with where the person is, and to support them to either empower them to bring it out themselves, you know, challenge them a little bit to push them a little bit deeper, but never knowing like what's right, what's wrong, because there is no right or wrong. It's all just isness. Yeah, it is.
And so the flow of open world theatre, it's really, God, it's potent medicine. So when we first went in there, he starts speaking about the concept of open world, And it's really it's a life by design concept, really, you know, and it's a really potent practice of individualizing yourself, all while at the same time curating a stronger collective. And I think that's like a big pattern through rebirthing as well that we've gone through. It's like, how do you become more sovereign in yourself, all while then standing out into the world where the forces are coming at you? For sure. And how can you then just be the oak tree, or how can you just be you? Yeah. Without needing to be anything else in whatever that needs to be, you know? Even just in the constructs of like standing close to someone, or being, you know, touching someone, or, you know, all these different things there's so many taboos that we hold dear in our own psyche and constructs of our upbringings and Western civilizations, or even just our own culture. And so this is just breaking all of that down. And so, yeah, the first day, I mean, it's hard to explain it, right? Like, I'm just sitting here going, oh, how do I explain this? Because it's just going to just sound nutty. Yeah. But it's not. Yeah. It's nutty in such a great way, because it's really opening you up to just stepping into the moment. And this is where people like Ram Dass and Yabo Mate and things like that, you know, they really speak about, like, you can have the most powerful life experience in any single moment just by bringing awareness into the single space. And open world is doing that, but with people. And it can come in the form of, you know, he calls it theatre, but it's the theatre of life. We're always on stage. And then what are you going to put forward? Or are you going to step forward beyond the veil and just be fully exposed? And that, it's just a full exposure.
Totally. And it was like the first day was, I guess, all about him sort of breaking down those shackles, bringing some awareness to the tricks that we have, bringing some awareness to the defaults that we fall into in certain situations, bringing awareness into the body, out of the mind, and just being like, okay, cool. What does it actually feel like to be in the present moment? What does it feel like to stand up on stage and not think, just allow?
Just open. Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, I do a lot of speaking in front of people, many different forms. I've never really written like speeches and notes and things like that. I always just kind of have like an idea, and then I'll just speak about it from the idea, and that comes out. But stepping on with absolutely no concept of what you are going to create, except just trusting in the higher self, and just opening your mouth and letting words come out regardless of what they are. So now you're feeling this inadequacy within you of being like, geez, I'm not going to get this right. Or, you know, like there's a task called Beautiful and Ugly. And basically it's getting in front of people and acting out what is beautiful. And beauty can be different for every single person. For somebody's ugly, it could be somebody's beautiful, and vice versa. And it's not trying to curate beauty, it's just being beauty. And what does that deep down for you mean, regardless of how people are going to intersect it? And then in that is the beauty. Because you are just this human being right there, enacting beauty without any preconcept of what you're going to create as beauty.
Yeah, totally. And then it drops back into another concept where he's like, I'm not here to entertain you. Yeah. So it's like, how do you show up in beauty without entertaining? Because another thing he breaks down is the scene. It's like, we are in a scene right now. Yes. You know, but then there's a scene outside of that, which is the scene and the interaction that we're having with the listeners, you know, what's going into their ears. Then there's a scene outside of that, which is like that person's exterior, you know, why is it that they're listening to it? What are they trying to gain from it? How are they going to interpret it? Then it's like, well, how is it that they're showing up in the world? How is the world showing up in the world? So it's like, by us playing in this scene, it has a ripple effect through all.
Yeah.
And then it's understanding that although it has a ripple effect through all, it's like, how can I be in this scene knowing that it will, without trying to make it affect or make it curated in a way where it's going to touch all these other points the way I want it to touch these other points. And it's a really hard thing, because it's like, we live in a curated world now. There's so much social media, there's algorithms that are just created in a way to manipulate, to move, to I guess
it's trap your awareness.
Yeah, to trap your awareness in a falsity, in the way in which you think life is, in the way in which you think life should be. Whereas, like, you have a look at social media and the interactions that are there and the way in which people show up, it's like all of that is curated.
Yeah.
And it may be coming from like an essence to share, but at the same time, someone's sitting down in front of a camera, either scripted or not, it's planned, it's edited, and it's like all of that then comes into our life as well, you know, because you think life has to be curated, you think it has to be perfect. People are getting up at 5 a.m. so they can post a video about how they get up at 5 a.m. Now, if they weren't posting the video, would they still be getting up at 5 a.m? Who knows? It may be a part of their true essence, or it may just be something that they may use as a tool to gain followers, gain money, gain popularity, you know. So it's like, how can you play in it but still come from truth?
Intention.
Intention.
What's the intention? And then getting really truthful in what your intention is.
Yeah, and why is that your intention?
Yeah. It's a funny thing. And this just mixes perfectly with my life right now. You know, like, I'm on this show and I've become the main character of this fucking show. And it's really interesting watching the other people around me who were on it as well. Who, you know, some of them really had creating... They were creating their own evidence to support their own biasy based off how they wanted to see me. And so it's funny watching them go out, you know, they were, what were they doing? They were saying that I was on the show for wrong reasons, like just a bunch of bullshit. But yet I go and see them now, they're all setting up fucking TikToks and they're all trying to get as much, you know, followers as possible. And I'm like, fuck, there it is. You know, I haven't chased it. I'm not fucking reposting any of this stuff. It's this thing that I've done that's out in the world and it's great, you know. But yeah, it's all, fuck, everything moves in patterns. Everything moves in all these different life rhythms and waves, right? And so sitting here after doing open world, like I'm really dropping into a point now where I'm like, fuck, I think I'm really close to a point of actually just getting rid of my social media, having a business page, obviously, and obviously utilizing it as a tool for what it is, but actually just being like, I don't care about posting to get people to comment, or, you know, like, I'm getting past that point now. But could I have got here without this full exposure of it all happening and just going, actually, it's all fucking means nothing. It's just a joke. It's just the way that people want to perceive you, and that's okay. That's all good. But yeah, that's what's really starting to land really strongly after this open world, and it's just ticking away each day, and it feels more and more real. Excuse me, each day as well, which is, I like it because it's shifting and moving my way of reality, and it's pulling me out of different veils of, like, I sense this world that we're all trapped and addicted into. And I don't mean all as in every single person on the planet. I mean, like, most people in our culture right now, and think that that's the only way to do things, is to have to post on social media and have to, you know, build this business on social media. And yes, that's an aspect of it, but we just went and spent 4 days at the Field Days, which is Australasia's largest gathering of people. That, you know, 100 to 120,000 people come through, and just 4 days of, you know, really talking and connecting with people and watching our business grow in a so-called recession, but yet our main fundamental is being in front of people. It's that human to human connection. It's that talking. And what's really funny was witnessing was, there was some really nice people that came forward. Hey, I've seen you. Can I grab a photo? All good. And then you could see the people that were obviously triggered by me as well because of what they've read and seen and interpreted. And they would just be like, oh, and they would walk away. And that was my light bulb moment. I was like, man, these people will go and fucking write anything about you online and comments or whatever. But in real life, you're a fucking pussy. And there's no chance you'll ever come up and actually say, hey, you and this and that. They'll just move on, And so the actual fact of reality is that in a person-to-person space, most people will be like, hey, cool. Oh, I can meet you and you can meet me, with a lot more going on rather than just some pixels on a screen, and then they can write their thing, and then that thing can trigger anxiety or whatever in anyone, and so that was just like people at the end of the day are all beautiful, and they're all just trying to get their way, but is social media need to be the biggest aspect of my connective life, and for me it's actually coming to a point where it's like, oh no. Yeah.
No, it's a beautiful lesson to take away because it gives you an opportunity to be present and real in the interactions that are there, and even creating scenes that are outside of that, and it's like that's one of the big things for us. It's like, how can we get in front of as many people as possible? And it's like, social media is a tool because that's where a lot of people are, but it's not present.
No.
How many people actually watch to the end of a video of something? How many people are just scrolling for the sake of scrolling? How many people are merely there to be entertained in whatever way that is, through education, through silly cat videos, through them watching other people, and even the judgments that they may come up or perceive. It's like judgment's always going to be a bigger driver and get more views, and drama's going to pull more people in than truth.
Correct.
Of actually what happened.
Well,
it's actually the way in which things are.
Yeah. Well, that's the pull from our negative biasy, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
We're like, oh, there's some drama, I want to watch that. And we joke about it now. What's quite funny is I can see it as like a collective kink, a collective voyeur of watching drama and watching other people, maybe that's why the show is so popular, because it's like people can sit there with their partner if they want, and they can be like, oh, look at these people. Don't have to worry about themselves, right? Or maybe they sit there together and it's more of a connection. They're like, oh shit, look at these people together. It's like, cool, whatever's working, it doesn't worry me. But maybe let's own that kink a little bit more. Maybe you like watching a little drama. Maybe you like, people are like, oh, it's my guilty pleasure. Yeah, totally. Well, don't make it guilty, just make it a pleasure. For sure, get into it. It's all good. I knew what I was getting into when I went into it. So I'll be your scene.
Totally. And it sort of goes out. It's like awareness and eyes are currency. So it's like story, scenes, situations, life is created for that currency, because the more people that have more eyes are, that is the currency, that is the measure, and it can be distracted in a way where it is that curated aspect and it is inauthentic, and most of the time it's going to be, because at the same time it's like there's producers, there's editors that are choosing a narrative and a story, and they probably already know how it's going to end before it even starts. Totally. And they already pick the characters for specific roles for a specific reason.
Yep.
And then that happens, and like that is the meta. Like that is the bigger aspect of it all, and it's like how the world does anything is how it's doing everything. So it's like, how else are these scenes and situations being created in life? Through the people that you hire, through the people that you surround yourself with, through the biases that you have. And so it's really about deconstructing all of those, realizing to not get trapped in the entertainment of it, and to actually show up. Like, what is truth? What is authenticity? Maybe even using authenticity as a guide could be a distraction as well, because that's always going to be your own eye of authenticity. And all of this is as esoteric as it gets, realistically, and some people might be losing themselves and saying it doesn't make sense, but it's like, until you actually step out of the meta scene and take a step back and like observe yourself and the way in which you show up and the little things that you do to gain acceptance, to gain approval, to gain, you know, the awareness of others. It's like, okay, who is my essence, and how does that essence really show up?
Yep.
And if I take off all of the armor and the masks and the perceived judgment of others, it's like, how is life truly going to be? How is the scene truly going to play out?
Fucking magnificent. As large and as small, or as mighty or as weak as you want it to be.
100%. Because there is no right way of doing life.
No.
There is no wrong way of doing life. But there's a way in which they want us to do life. And it is to be dull. It is to be distracted. It is to be caught in a state of stress where we're having to be money driven, you know, because that keeps us dull. It keeps us small. It means that we're not actually able to question the way in which we're showing up. We don't have the time to be able to step out and look and observe, or even that's deemed as being weird or strange or wrong, or when you are, you know, pulling people to a higher standard or questioning, why is it that, you know, or putting some analysis to it, or even just speaking from your heart or speaking from an emotion that you feel. It can be confronting, because fucking truth is confronting.
It's fucking confronting.
Like, reality is confronting. You know, when you're truly in it, not doing it from a place of entertainment or need, and really like pushing those constructs.
I think it's what Atlas said. He goes, we're in reality, but we're seeking actuality. Like, what's the actuality of the situation, of the scene, of the process, whatever you're doing? Well, what's the actuality? You know, reality is a construct. Reality is a curated version of niceties and politeness and people pleasing, like all of it, right? Like, let's not hurt people's feelings. No, don't go out and hurt people's feelings, but you can certainly bring some truth to it. You know, well, for me, that's love. But another thing that I really took away from Open World too was how I show love.
The dagger.
Like a knife. I show love with a knife. I'm like, fucking, you can be the best, you know? And yeah, it's just having that really set. And I'm like, oh yeah, that really is like, that really is an essence that I'm bringing forth is, you know, hey, I'm a big, lovable bear, but I'll help you vastly improve your life if you're willing. But I do it with a knife.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then that in itself pushes other people's edges, because maybe they're not at that point of willingness yet.
Yeah.
You know? Or maybe they've, you know, we spoke about it in a few episodes before, that aspect of like, nature will only take you so far. The rest of it has to be nurtured. You know, everyone has an essence, but then it needs to be constructed or brought out through adopting personality. Everyone only has an ability and a willingness to go so far, and then from there, that's where the drive kicks in. That's where the push and the desire and things like that. And it's like, me and Van had a friend over last night, and we were talking to her about things, and then it's like, when I can see it from that aspect, you can sort of see people contract a little bit, because, you know, we're like having a conversation, going deeper into things, and then she was just like, broke out of it and was like, she's like, this happens every time I come around to you guys' house. It's always truth and challenge. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's good, because that's constantly what we're looking for is truth and challenge, you know, and not allowing ourselves to fall victim to the story, you know, the stories that we created, the places which we hide in ourselves. And then afterwards, me and Van had a beautiful moment, laying in bed, and she was like, thank you for not letting me get trapped in story.
Nice.
You know? Because it's like that's a beautiful acknowledgement, because it's so easy to play small. It's so easy to stay a victim. It's so easy to stay trapped in the story and the shell that we've created, and to break out of that is hard and takes work and it's challenging, and you never know whether or not you're going to get through it, and it means tears and crying and laughter and, you know, falling into play and, you know, getting it fucking wrong.
Constantly getting it wrong.
Because, you know, sometimes you push, sometimes you don't push enough.
Yeah.
And it's just really learning to play into like the truth and the energy of a moment in a situation.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully put, man. Another thing that's springing up to mind as well, which I think we can all fall in trap, and especially me, is like being addicted to your mastery. Like being like, yeah, I'm a master at that, and then you're creating your own prison with your own mastery. Whereas be amazing, be a master at whatever it is that you want to do, but still relinquish the control of the mastery. You know,
the need for mastery.
Yeah, and that's something.
Where does that need come from?
Yeah, well, that's something that's in me all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking really good at that, so I'll step up and I'll run that. But then it limits you for more mastery within that mastery, because you know you can get the points like, yeah, I got this. You know? Cool, you can get it, but still be super open to what's more. You know, it's that mind, it's that thinker, right? It's like, yeah, I got this here. I'm super confident at it. I'm super, you know, got this worked out. But what's more?
Yeah, what's below that need to have it worked out, you know, or the need to show up in that way. It's like so many things to unpack.
All of it.
What do you think was the thing that you had most fun with in the weekend?
It would have been the sexual scene work at the end.
Ooh, yuck.
That was fun. That was really fun, because it was the scene work mixed in with the added essence of sex and God and all of that moves around. And I think my part of my ear is still slightly numb, but that was very powerful, because when you're just co-creating in those situations, like when you're making a movement or you're just allowing yourself to be and move with what is being mirrored or however it is happening, there's these things that just pop in, like you're open as a channel. It's like when I was stepping out, ripping my leg out from a scene that I was in, and it was just like, bro, it was like, you know, the yin led to yang. It was like nice yin, poof, and I was just getting hit. And then the yang came. It was like, woof, and it was like this rush of like things I had to release. But then with my scene partner, it was the same thing, but in a different interpretation of it. So that was really, really fun. But even you know, the depth of where I like to go, that challenged me, of being like, I feel stupid, is where I went to multiple times, and that's what I really enjoy as well, because it's such an edge for me to be seen to be stupid. I'm becoming more and more comfortable with it, especially with things that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at this, and then I get to I take away a couple more layers. I'm like, oh shit, there's really not a lot to this, but that was a lot of fun. And yeah, just getting into those points where I was talking about before, about, you know, oh, actually, I don't really know how to feel properly, or I don't know how to, like, maybe open my heart. Like, I've been telling myself it is, but the body is in separation with it. So, so that's where I found fun. I'm a bit of a sicko, but that's all right.
Fun through pain.
Yeah. But it's the pain of explosive growth.
Yeah, totally. And exposure.
And exposure,
pain and exposure, knowing that exposing yourself is going to lead to more, because it's an edge, you know? And it's like, that in itself is a kink, constantly being on an edge.
It is, man.
Constantly challenging yourself in new ways, you know?
And this is why I got to rest sometimes, because I'm like, it takes a lot of energy. What about you, man? What was the most fun?
For me was definitely the scene work, and also the moment when we were going through like creating rhymes and beats. Like, I found it really, really challenging at the start, but it's like the thing that I learned the most is like, as soon as I got out of my mind and just like trusted ability, that was like the click. Out of your mind, just trust. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. There's literally no right or wrong, and so it's like, where's the judgment, like the perceived self-judgment that you're already going to get it wrong, or it's not going to be good enough coming from? So for me, that was beautiful, because same, it's like, that's an edge. It's like, it's challenging. It's like the mind can be such a powerful tool, but if that's the only place that you're coming from and you're not speaking from your heart and truth, then it's like you're missing the true essence of it, because everything that's in your mind has only been learned. Like it's only concepts that have been read or heard. But when you're speaking truth from your heart, from your body, and just allowing whatever needs to come up, then it feels free. And then also the scene work was fun, because it's like just being in the energy dance. I fucking love being in the dance of energy.
It's good, eh?
Like, because that is eros.
Yeah.
Sexually or non-sexually.
Yeah.
All of it's beautiful.
Excuse me. Yeah, well, the fine dance of eros, the all-encompassing beauty of life's essence. Yeah, it's a magnificent weekend. So if you'd like to do some training with Atlas, I think he's got an online course coming up. Highly recommend it. Again, I'll put the links in the show notes. And just be, I think, is it. You know, catch yourself. I don't know. I don't even know.
Well, it's just being where being is for you.
Yeah, just be for you.
You know?
Exactly right.
Be where you're at. Yet
You know?
challenge yourself to sorry. Challenge yourself to step outside of it. You know, challenge yourself to not get caught up in the mundane, the stories, and allow yourself to be in the scene that is life.
Totally. I love that. Beautiful full stop. All right, team. Thank you guys for joining us. Yeah, I feel like I can feel our podcast evolving into just... Oh, it's awesome. I love it. Because it's just opening up and expanding more and more of what we're up to. And we're up to a lot of things. So stay on the journey, stay on the ride with us. And we'll be here next week. Oh, actually, you'll be here next week. I'm taking a holiday.
There you go.
I'm going away for 6 days. I'm leaving this beautiful country to it's so cold right now. And I'm finding some sun. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm flying out tomorrow morning. So I'm going to log off for 6 days and then come back all rejuvenated and refreshed and ready to get into some more.
Whatever life brings.
Whatever we create, man. Exactly. All right, guys, we love you. Guys and gals, we love you. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of our community and all of the things. Please give this a share so more people can listen and just enjoy life.
We'll see you when we see you.
Sure.